For this painting, I changed everything about my painting process. I started photoshopping two images together and changing the colors. And when it came to painting it, I didn't start with oil paint first, I started with acrylics. Hi everyone, the past week I've been working on this painting of a Dutch Challenger. The idea came when I was scrolling through my saved photos when I found an image of some mountains which had really nice colors. And I also found an image of a Dodge Challenger in the desert. I wanted to combine the Dodge into the photo of the mountains, but the colors were very different, so I started experimenting in Photoshop. I knew about a feature that lets you change the colors of images, called color mapping. I used that feature to make some sort of color filter from the background and added it onto the image of the Dodge. I then combined both images together. To my surprise, the perspective of both images were very similar, so I didn't have to change much about the background. When I mapped the colors, I didn't want it to be too complicated, so I just used some light orange, pink and some purples. This made mixing the colors with oil paint and acrylic paint a lot easier, as I only had to mix 5 colors instead of 20 or more. The colors I used resulted in a dreamy and mysterious lighting, which I really like. If you have seen more of my paintings, you probably know that I like interesting lighting a lot. To this point, I mainly used sunsets to get the interesting lighting. But in this one, it's more the colors that I use to paint that make it look interesting. After I was done photoshopping, I started painting, and I didn't start how I usually start. I wanted to experiment a bit. I have seen other people using acrylics first and then oil paint. It is supposed to be easier to paint with acrylics than with oils. Mainly because they dry faster, so you can get very far in less time and then finish it off with oil paint to give it that smoother and oil paintery look. Before I made this painting, I had never painted a lot with acrylics. I didn't know anything except for that they dry way too fast. But what I quickly learned was that they work so differently than oil paint. Because they dry so fast, the colors don't blend at all together, which makes it really difficult to fill in every white spot of the paper. I ended up adding some water to the paint to make it easier to cover the white of the paper. I also could be more precise now than before. It does now take at least 2 layers with the watered down paint, but as it dries fast it didn't take too much more time. As you may know, when you paint with acrylics on paper, the paper is likely to warp. I knew that would happen, but I was also curious to see how well the paper would handle it. And what I found out was that the paper doesn't warp too much when you tape all 4 corners to your desk. But it still warped too much for my liking, especially on the top for some reason. The painting ended up looking really good, and I really like the colors I chose to paint with. I do still have a lot to learn when it comes to painting with acrylics, but for now I'm really satisfied with how the painting turned out. Thank you so much for watching, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.